Sir Callahan is the one to see.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. It means we're brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Jacob Beck, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Fired up, you're here with us. Got our Tuesday regulars coming up here. 30 minutes from right now, Glen West Go 24/7 will be along. Colin Jeter, the LSU Alumni Association, former LSU tight end, here at 2 o'clock. Sharief Ishaq talking Saints at 2:30, so plenty to do. Let's crank it up. How we do it every day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Yesterday, I talked about some of the positives with LSU's offense. A lot of it was big picture discussion. I prefaced the entire discussion with, hey, 20 points is not enough. That's not good enough. Turnovers, not great. Miscommunications, not what you're looking for. Was the quarterback perfect? No. Was the running game dominant? No. But if you look at the entirety of the body of work on Saturday night, there were some real positives. It was a big picture discussion. I laid out drive charts and did that whole shebang. And if you want to go back and listen to that, you can certainly catch that on demand at Hunt on LSU. But that was yesterday's kind of gut reaction to the game. What I wanted to do to move that discussion forward today was to talk about some specifics and some numbers in terms of the running game. And I just thought watching the game that LSU ran a little bit better. I thought watching the game that there were some wrinkles. I thought watching the game that it was an improvement. Was it dominant? No. Did they grind South Carolina into a paste? No. Is South Carolina a great run defense? No. I'm not here to sell you a bill of goods that's worthless. It's not great, but you can't go from awful to great like that. You gotta take some steps, and maybe this is a step. Maybe it all goes away on Saturday in Nashville. But let me lay some things out for you that I noticed in the stat sheet and what I watched with my eyes that were encouraging. We talked about this. They ran it 30 times for 166 yards. 166 yards. Highest rushing total of the season for LSU. 5.5 yards per carry, highest total of the season for LSU. That's better than Louisiana Tech, better than Southeastern, and it was in an SEC game. I'll take it. 4 times, LSU had runs over 15 yards. Caden Durham had 2 of them. Juwan Johnson had 1. Garrett Nussmeier had 1. All of that is positive. There are times where you might look and go, well, the quarterback who never really runs ran for that yard. Is that really part of the offense? No, I'm not going to say that today, because anytime Garrett Nussmeier wants to tuck the football below his shoulder and go get some yards, I'm for that, because we've been missing it for a year and a half. So I think it was good. They committed to it 30 times. It was good they ran for 166 yards. It was good they ran for 5.5 yards per carry. It was good that they gained 15 yards 4 different times with 3 different players. All that was excellent. Caden Durham, he's your lead back, was hurt against Southeastern, missed the Ole Miss game, came back against South Carolina. You look at his stat sheet, and it's not one he's going to write home about. 15 carries for 70 yards. Okay. We've seen LSU running backs run for 250. So what are we talking about 70 yards here? Well, one thing that Brian Kelly has harped on, and I generally take him for his word in press conferences, they know they're not going to be a dominant run team. They're not going to all of a sudden start averaging 212 yards a night on the ground. But they want to be efficient in their runs, right? You want to be efficient in your run. What does that mean? Well, 3-yard gains in neutral downs are efficient. 1st and 10, 3-yard gain, that'll work. 2nd and 6, you get 3, that'll work. And then when you talk about runs that accomplish a first down, even if you don't get 3 yards, that's an efficient run. The first play of the game, you'll probably remember this. We talked about it. LSU got under center, had Caden Durham in the backfield, and they ran an under center running play. Now, it got blown up in the backfield. Dylan Stewart got at the tackle for loss. So it's terrible, but they tried that. Stuffed. The next play went for 1 yard on the ground from Caden Durham. So the first 2 runs were not efficient. Tackle for loss in a 1-yard gain. But after those 2 runs, it was efficient. After those two runs, 9 of Durham's next 11 runs were efficient runs. They either gained 3 yards or gained a first down. 9 of 11. That's accomplishing things. There were a couple of 3-yard runs on first down. Again, not great, but it's better than losing 2 yards. Puts you in a neutral down moving forward. There were a couple gains that were only 1 yard, but it was on 3rd and 1 or 2nd and 1, and you got it, so you'll take that. And he busted a couple for more than 10 yards. So 9 of 11 runs over the course of really almost 3 quarters were efficient. That's a good thing. Then you go to another aspect of this, which is the creativity. And I mentioned this yesterday, but I'll reiterate it. The first snap of the game was under center. That's something new. You saw moments later, you did a direct snap to Juwan Johnson, and that direct snap to Juwan Johnson, Malachi Lane was on the field. He's a walk-on, running back, fullback, whatever you want to call him. He's big and physical. He's out there to block, and you saw Juwan Johnson get 9 yards on one of those Wildcat snaps. Then you've got Jack Pyburn, who played some fullback as well. So you saw fullbacks, you saw under center, you saw Wildcat. All of that is good. Harlem Berry ran the ball very well against Ole Miss in the game 2 weeks ago. Comes in, he gets 3 carries in the first quarter of the game. I think that's good. None of that is transformational. This is not Gus Malzahn bringing out the Wildcat with Derek McFadden and Peyton Hillis and running for 250 a game. This is not transformational offense. These are not mind-blowing adjustments, but they are adjustments. Again, as I started this conversation, I'm not expecting LSU to go from we can't run the ball at all, we gained 50 yards against Ole Miss, the worst run defense in the SEC, to, okay, we got Fournette again. Like, I'm not asking you to do that. Give me some willingness to change, some willingness to adapt, and some production. You saw all of that over that course. And what you also saw was balance. LSU finished the game statistically with 33 passes and 30 rushes. They passed the ball for 254. They ran for 166. That's pretty good balance. I went further on the balance, and I talked about first down play calls. You had 32 snaps on first down. 32. 19 passes, 13 runs. It's not 50-50, but I don't know that I need 50-50. LSU's better at throwing the ball than they are at running the ball. So skew towards what you're better at, but keep it balanced. 19 passes to 13 runs. I actually broke it down by quarter. You had 4 runs and 5 passes in the first quarter. You had 4 runs and 6 passes in the second quarter. You had 3 runs and 4 passes in the third quarter. You had 2 runs and 4 passes in the fourth quarter. So the game was always pretty close. You felt like you were in control. The game was always pretty close, and you never strayed. Early, you were right down the middle. Late, you were essentially right down the middle. And ultimately, because every quarter you passed it 1 or 2 more times than you ran it, it skewed and you went 6 more passes than runs on first down. But that's okay with me. Like, you're better at throwing the ball than you are at running it. As long as that 32 doesn't go 26-6, then you're predictable. And I don't want to see it 26-6 in the run category as well, because you're predictable and you're not as good at it. So to me, all of this was positive. South Carolina's not very good on defense. They're 11th in the SEC in rushing defense. They're 12th in yards per carry allowed. They're 8th in tackles for loss. Only Arkansas gives up more big plays on the ground than South Carolina. This is not, again, meant to tell you that LSU has discovered something earth-shattering. But it was a step forward. It was absolutely a step forward. Because guess what? South Carolina's not great on run defense, but neither is Southeastern, okay? And you're getting better. You took the bye week. You got a little healthier. You lined up your offensive line the way you wanted to. You committed to a game plan that included balance, that included creativity, and then ultimately you produced. And it was a step in the right direction for the ground game. I thought it was pretty good. I know that everyone is cranky about the 20 points. And trust me, I'm right there with you about 20 points. And I know that there are a lot of people that are cranky about the quarterback and that are cranky about the offensive coordinator and kind of cranky about everything. And I talked about that yesterday. And I understand the expectation that goes into things at LSU. You're graded on a championship curve. This was really the first 30 minutes of yesterday's show. But I'm going to take this game in a vacuum and say, okay, that's a step forward. But what do you have to do when you take a step forward? You have to take another one. So you got to go on the road against Vanderbilt and continue this. Continue to commit to the run. Continue to be productive in the run. Continue to have efficient runs. Continue to do things differently. What you didn't see in this game was a lot of Xavier Thomas, not a lot of jet sweep, not a lot of motion of him into the backfield. That's still in there. When you're awesome at running the ball, if you're the Pony Express with SMU in the late 80s and you can just run the same, triple option stuff with Dickerson and James, just stick with that and you're awesome. When you're Les Miles LSU and you can toss it to Leonard Fournette against Syracuse and South Carolina and whoever else you play and Texas Tech and run for 305, you don't have to do anything different. This offense is not that. So you've got to come up with some wrinkles, got to do things a little bit differently. And again, to put a big bow on this offense from Saturday for one final time before we push off the dock and go straight for Vanderbilt, if you hit a couple of these other plays in the passing game and that scoreboard ticks up and Nussmeier's statistics tick up and you pair this ground attack with it and all of a sudden it's 34 points with the 460 yards of offense, it feels a little bit different. You only have one defense left on your meaningful schedule. I'm not counting Western Kentucky. One defense worse than that remaining on your schedule. It's Arkansas. They're putrid. Everybody else will give you more resistance in South Carolina. So you got to get better. But this was a step in the right direction, and I was happy with a lot of aspects of what LSU went with on the ground on Saturday night. If you're looking for our LSU coverage, you can certainly find it at LouisianaSports.net. I've got a story up right now about the ground game. It's there on the homepage for free. Matt Flynn's got a phenomenal film breakdown that's on the front page of our site. They're going to do that weekly. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Taking former NFL quarterback's word for film. It's pretty good stuff. Let's go check that out for free at LouisianaSports.net. We've also got Saints coverage from Ross Jackson on LouisianaSports.net. And I'm going to get into some of the things that he wrote today about Spencer Rattler, including going back 2 weeks ago to my ultimatum to Spencer Rattler, and we'll talk about what the Saints need to do at quarterback moving forward. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Tuesday shows brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. You're thinking, why Daryl? Looking to buy or sell a home in Louisiana or Mississippi? Well, I'll tell you. He's got years of experience as a former builder and a trusted realtor, so he brings unmatched insight into every Baton Rouge real estate transaction. He's got a really deep understanding about solid construction because he did it for 2 decades. Craftsmanship that allows clients to make confident and informed decisions about the homes that they're purchasing. He's got experience, he's got integrity. When that comes together, you've got Daryl, your advantage in the Baton Rouge real estate market. So if you're in Baton Rouge looking to buy or sell a home, contact Daryl May of Trustee Properties, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. 2 weeks ago, I sat here in this very chair and I said, okay, Spencer Rattler has had 10 starts over 2 seasons of work. He has got 2 weeks to hang on to this starting quarterback job with the New Orleans Saints. At that point, I was not suggesting that Spencer Rattler was a failure, that he was a lost cause, that he had no chance of improving and becoming the Saints franchise quarterback. I wasn't even blaming them for getting off to an 0-4 start. I really wasn't concerned with 0-4. At that point, I was looking at the product on the field, which was very vanilla, very dink and dunk, not very productive, wasn't winning games. It was just safe, comfortable, and fine. And safe, comfortable, and fine is okay for a rookie that you just drafted with nothing behind him. When you're talking about a guy who's had 10 starts and has a second-round pick right behind him, at some point after 10 starts, I'm going to need to see a little bit more than safe and unproductive. So I said 2 weeks ago, you're playing the Giants, you're playing the Patriots in the Dome. You got 2 weeks to show me something or I'm going to shuck. That was my opinion at that point. And I stand by that today. And now you look at the last 2 weeks and my with the new information I have, new opinion on the matter is you absolutely stick with Spencer Rattler, who is showing you something as the Saints starter. It's not great. It's not eye-opening, but there are absolutely positively strides being made for Spencer Rattler at this point. Ross Jackson's piece on LouisianaSports.net lays this out wonderfully. So I'm stealing his information here, but it goes right in line with the segment I knew I was going to do today because I gave that ultimatum independent of anything Ross had written 2 weeks ago on this show. But Ross just happened to go exactly in the lane I was going to drive in, so I'll take his stuff from LouisianaSports.net. Weeks 1 through 4, Spencer Rattler, yards per attempt, 5.2. That's tied for 30th in the NFL, yards per attempt. That completely lines up with what you were watching on the field, just a bunch of swing passes, dump-offs, check downs, nothing exciting, nothing very productive. Air yards per pass attempt, 7.1, 23rd in the NFL. You can win in the NFL being very safe. You can't win in the NFL when you never hit the big play. And the Saints were the only team in the NFL to that point that had not hit a big play in the air. The only team. Well, then you look at the last 2 weeks where I said, Spencer, I need to see something. And you've seen something. Yards per attempt over the last 2 weeks, 7.9. That's tied for 10th in the NFL, from 30th to 10th. Net yards per attempt, he was 30th in that stat, tied for 8th, 7.2. 30th to 8th. And then you go air yards per pass attempt. He went from 7.1 up 7.4, but you're talking about a 5-spot jump. It's not huge, but it's 5 spots. But it's getting better. It's improving. And you saw the big play to Shaheed down the right sideline 2 weeks ago, and you saw the big play to Olave to start the game on Sunday for 53 yards on the Saints' first snap. You're starting to see something. And what I really liked about the throw to Olave, it was fractionally underthrown, but there was a little bit of pressure. He stepped up and then got behind it and put the ball up in the air. There was good pocket awareness, good pocket movement, the correct read, the proper throw. It wasn't right on the money, but it was everything right up to that point. And I feel like Spencer Rattler has earned himself significant more time. The bye week is 3 weeks away. Perhaps that's an opportunity if you don't see more growth from here over the next 3 weeks, because you feel like you want to get a look at Ishaq, but you don't want to stunt growth just for a look. If I see the same growth over the next 3 weeks that I saw over the past 2 weeks, now all of a sudden you're really getting somewhere. Spencer Rattler has never looked overmatched on the NFL field in terms of he can't move well enough. He can't make that throw. He can't do this. The game's too fast. It was just too safe, in my opinion. And there's reason for that. You don't want to just throw a green player to the wolves, but you've got to break out of that shell at some point. And I feel like you're seeing it. It's not explosive. It's not something that's just, boom, it's completely different overnight. But it's those baby steps. It's kind of the same thing I was talking about with LSU in the previous segment. This is just bigger stage and a far better level of play. So, again, I don't feel like this is a necessary thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. The odds that Spencer Rattler becomes a Pro Bowl quarterback who leads the Saints to multiple playoff berths and a deep run in the playoffs that results in getting to a Super Bowl, like the odds of him becoming that are not very good, because they're not very good for all the quarterbacks in the NFL. I remind you, Josh Allen's played in exactly none Super Bowls. Okay? So it's really hard to get to that. And we're all kind of still considering Rattler like next in line. It was Breeze, and then whatever was between that, and then it was Carr. That was a failure, and then this. And you're still close enough to Breeze where everyone's kind of grasping for that, right? And that's not fair. But you're trying to find the next guy. And he doesn't look like a guy right now, but it's still not to the point where I'm going to rule it out. I'm not suggesting you have to rule it out to go to Ishaq, but I need to see a plateau or a drop-off. Or I need to see a group around him that doesn't believe. And I don't think you're even close to that We'll talk to Sharief Ishaq an hour from now, and I'll get his thoughts on that. But, like, I see a team that's playing hard. I see a team that likely feels like he's improving. I know you've got a coach that believes he's improving. Kellen Moore talked about that yesterday. This is a quote in Ross's piece. Kellen Moore of Spencer Rattler says, I thought his pocket movement was phenomenal throughout the entire game. The first play was a great example of him subtly moving in the pocket, giving ourselves an opportunity to make that play. Had a really good scramble to Alvin on 3rd and 3, 4, somewhere in that range. You're talking about a coach who's seeing some things that he likes from a quarterback, and that's his position. It's not like Dennis Allen is saying that. Kellen Moore is saying that. A guy who won a ton of games in college, played the position in the NFL, coached it in the NFL, now is quarterback's coach into a head coach, offensive coordinator between that, obviously. And so he's going to take notes and have a tougher grading scale for quarterbacks than some other coaches that might be former special teams guys or defensive coaches or whatever the case may be. So ultimately, I gave the ultimatum. I've got that 2 weeks worth of information. I felt like when I gave the ultimatum, it was likely I would sit here and say, hey, it's time for Shuck. I don't believe that right now. It is not time for Tyler Shuck. I still think ultimately you're going to give him a look at some point, but you don't have to do that right now. You've got a lot of time in front of you. It's only mid-October. You've got a bye week that's significantly in front of you, considering that some teams have already had a bye. Like yours is still 3 weeks away. It's a later bye after 10 weeks. You've got enough real estate to keep Spencer Rattler moving. And I'm not going to napalm some development just because I took a guy in the second round. This is a difficult situation for Kellen Moore to inherit that you've got to handle very delicately. And the reason you were going to go with Spencer, one of the reasons I think it made sense to go with Spencer Rattler to start this thing was it would be easier to go from Rattler to Shuck than it would be to go from Shuck to Rattler. And you don't have to make that call right this second. I think now, with new information to go forward and make a prognostication on this quarterback spot, that I feel like now, I still think it will be, I still think it's going to be likely that Shuck starts multiple games this year. Because I think it's likely that Rattler doesn't take a meteoric rise. But right now, I'm not upsetting that apple cart. I think you stay where you are. You continue to move forward. Kellen Moore says that all the time, regardless of what he may be thinking or what the discussions are internally. I think that's where the Saints are right now. And it's exciting and fun to go to the high quarterback draft pick, and the Saints never get to do that. Saints fans never get to do that. And it's one of the great hope-filled aspects of being an NFL fan is, could this guy be the next quarterback? And when you've got a quarterback that lost all his games last year and is a mid-round pick, he doesn't quite get the same perception of hope that the second-round pick does. But right now, he's earned the right to move forward and to continue to be the starting quarterback for this team. I'll reassess things probably in 3 weeks, depending on how things go. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not that married to tying this to the win-loss record. I just want to see how it looks. I'm going to need Chris Olave to make some catches instead of have the ball hit off his hands. I'm going to need the ground game to be a little bit better than it was. And that ecosystem we talk about to develop quarterbacks needs to continue to progress. But Spencer Rattler, with my ultimatum, I'm sure he was very concerned about, by the way, with my ultimatum saying, hey, you got 2 weeks to prove something, I think he did. And I think you move forward with Spencer Rattler as your quarterback here for the foreseeable future. Tyler Shuck may get his shot this year, but not right now. I think it's Spencer Rattler's team. All right, we'll move forward. Glen West, Go 24/7, going to talk Tigers with us when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Your buying experience at Genesis of Baton Rouge is going to be luxury in every way. You go to the lot, airline at PQ. You're not going to be ambushed by aggressive salespersons that are just pushing and upselling and taking advantage. That's never going to happen at Genesis of Baton Rouge. They're going to treat you like a guest, not a customer. They're going to make sure that every need that you have is, and every question that you have is answered properly. And they're going to teach you about this great line of vehicles. Every single one's an IHA top safety pick, luxury brand, and they're going to get you behind the wheel of what fits you right for your situation, whether that's a sedan or an SUV. Once you pick that car out, you'll go into their climate-controlled area. They'll pull the car in, see all those bells and whistles. They'll give you America's best warranty. They'll send you on your way, understanding that your next 3 years, all your maintenance is going to be done complimentary and valet. Just part of the experience at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Go by and see them, Airline at Pico, or check out that inventory online, genesisofbatonrouge.com, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Looking for that hunting land outside the city, maybe a secondary home or property? Daryl May, Trustee Properties, can help you with looking for 30 acres, 300 acres. Daryl May, Trustee Properties is a name you can trust. Glen West, Go 24/7, covers the Tigers, football, basketball, baseball, recruiting. They're all over it there at Go 24/7. He joins us on Tuesdays. Glenn, how we doing?
Doing great, Hunt. How about yourself?
Good. Curious. You have Twitter followers that'll tweet at you from time to time. You got a message board full of subscribers. Like, what was the reaction to Saturday? Great defense, terrible offense, improving offense. Like, what do you feel like the fan base is feeling?
Yeah, I think it's still a pretty contentious fan base from an offensive perspective. Definitely, I think there was progress made this last weekend from LSU's offense, but when you only score 20 points at the end of the day, I think that's something that really sticks with fans. And look, they haven't surpassed the 20-point mark in any of their three SEC games so far. So while I thought there was some progress on Saturday and something to build on, you certainly would like to see the score uptick here going forward, and it's going to have to. And I think that's maybe a general consensus with the people we're engaging with on our message boards and things of that nature.
What was the most encouraging thing about the offense?
I think probably the passing game. I liked a lot of what Garrett Nussmeier and the guys were able to do. Obviously, you can't excuse. There's just no excuse for the two picks that he threw in that game. Those are just two decisions that were poor and just two bad throws. But I thought that outside of that, they were able to move the offense well with the passing game. They got Trey'Dez Green involved, which was great to see. Kind of have his breakout game as a Tiger. Kyle Parker did a really nice job as well in this game, picking up some of the slack in the middle of the field that was left behind with Aaron Anderson out. And so, and then I just thought from a pure throwing perspective, it was a encouraging sign from Nussmeier. I thought there was a little more velocity on his deep balls. I thought the ball placement there was pretty solid on the one to Hilton and another one to Nick Anderson in the end zone that kind of fell incomplete as well. But it's good to see that they're still taking those shots. And on top of that, I think I really like the balance between the run and the pass. I think it was 33 passes to 30 rushes, and so you're getting some equal balance there with the run and the pass, and they were able to move the ball, I think, pretty efficiently overall on the ground with 166 yards. You had guys like Caden Durham, averaging 5 or 6 yards a carry, and just continuing to move the offense forward and not getting behind the chains, I think was all a step in the right direction. And now you've got to just be able to finish off some of these drives with touchdowns and not turning the ball over or having to settle for field goals in the red zone.
Let's talk about the defense. Lenora Sellers and company not too successful. They only came up with 10 points. What'd you think?
Yeah, I actually lost a bet with lunch here because I had bet our guy Sonny Ship that Lenora Sellers would have more rushing yards than Garrett Nussmeier. And that was something that proved not to be the case because LSU's defense did a really nice job of bottling up Lenora Sellers, not letting him obviously escape the pocket and be kind of the improvisational guy that he is with his legs. And so I owe lunch to Sonny here over the next couple weeks. I'm not sure when we're going to do that, but that was good to see them because that was obviously something they're going to face here over the next couple weeks, and that was a good precursor, I think, to how they're going to maybe have some success against these more mobile quarters.
Was Sonny banking on a bunch of sack yardage? How is
yes,
he? Okay,
he was. Yes,
like,
he actually approached this subject to me, so. He came to me with the bet, and I said, "Hey, man, I'll take that 100 times out of 100." And unfortunately, Garrett Nussmeier, as soon as he pulled off that 21-yard run there, it was great to see in the moment. And then about 3 seconds later, I was like, "Oh no, I think I'm going to have to owe Sonny a meal here because of it."
Well, if you go back, there's somebody that tweeted out, I think it was Cole Kubelik maybe, that said Lenora Sellers actually ran like 605 yards or something. But it was all sideways and backwards, so none of it really counted. So if you want to counter with that, you can. You can do that.
Maybe I'll approach that to Sonny. Yeah, that'll be a good one.
All right, so let's go to Vanderbilt, LSU and Vanderbilt on Saturday. Vanderbilt's a favorite. Does that surprise you?
I don't think so because I do think Vanderbilt's offense has played really well, and you can only play who you played so far, and really the one team that they played that I think is pretty solid or pretty good on their schedule has been Alabama, and they struggled in that game. But I do think being at home is going to help them. And look, I mean, LSU has to go on the road here and prove that it can put up some points. And I don't know how many they're going to be able to score, at Vandy. I think there are some ways to have some success against the Vanderbilt defense, but the way that Pavia has played so far, I would imagine that those guys feel pretty confident and pretty comfortable with the way that they're performing offensively and are going to put up some points at home. So I'm not too surprised by the fact that they're favorites at home, but I think it also is just a sign that these SEC games and these SEC teams are just not as far apart as they have been in maybe previous years. And I think there's a lot more parity in the conference. I think that was something Brian Kelly was asked and talked about on Monday, is the average, I think, score or distance between scores is about 10 points in the SEC this year, where it was 17 as little as a year ago. And so this is not your Vanderbilt team that you grew up watching if you were really any age. And so they're definitely, I think, on a nice run here with Clark Lee, and it's going to be a challenging game for LSU to pull off.
How do you feel, like, we'll drill down a little tighter because you mentioned it there, but how do you feel that Vanderbilt's offense is going to perform against LSU's defense? Last year, Pavia struggled to do much. They scored 17 points in that game. How do you feel like that matchup looks on paper?
Yeah, I think they've had some success, with not only just using Pavia with his legs, but they've been a pretty good passing down team as well, passing down offense as well. They've converted a lot on third downs. I think they're number 2 or number 3 in the country in third down conversion percentage. And with a mobile quarterback like Pavia, we saw it a couple weeks ago against Ole Miss. Maybe that's something that LSU's defense has struggled with in just that one game, but still, like, I think that's something that Vanderbilt's going to try to attack. They're going to try to be consistently moving the ball on third and down and manageable. They've been able to get themselves, I think, in a lot of third down and manageable situations, and been able to set themselves up for good scoring opportunities because of that. So they have a pretty solid complement of skilled position players too. I mean, I did a little bit of a deep dive into them yesterday, and I think it's like 6 or 7 different receivers and running backs have at least 9 or 10 carries on their team. So they're getting the ball to the backfield a lot with their skills position players and trying to let them make plays. And then obviously Pavia is the guy that they design a lot of quarterback runs for. So it's really going to start with the run, I think, for LSU. And I would say if there's an area that LSU has shown a little bit of slippage in recent weeks, it's been the run game. I mean, Lenora Sellers didn't kill LSU with the run on the ground, but some of the running backs did have some success in that game, and LSU missed a few tackles in that game as well. So that's something they're certainly going to work to shore up, and I think that's something Vanderbilt's probably going to look at on film and say, hey, maybe this is something we can have some success with on the ground.
How do you think it goes on Saturday? I'll leave it there.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to a couple of things. I think it comes down to, can LSU's defense continue to play well against mobile quarterback like Diego Pavia, like they did last weekend with Sellers? Can they shut him down and make him beat you with his arm? I think that's something that LSU's defense will try to do in this game, and I think they have the guys in the back half of the defense that are going to be capable of shutting that passing game down. So trying to make them as one-dimensional as possible is going to be the game plan defensively. And then offensively, can you build on what you did well last week? And they didn't score as many points as they probably should have, but they still walked out with 420 yards of offense against South Carolina. Is that something they continue to build on and maybe capitalize more on those possessions and not have some of the silly self-inflicted mistakes that they had against Carolina? Because if you go down there and you turn the ball over a couple times in the red zone, you give them extra possessions, I don't think it's going to turn out well for LSU. So they've got to be cleaner offensively. They've got to continue to, I think, attack the vertical passing game, continue to show balance between the run and the pass, and try to move the ball in between the 20s like they did last weekend.
All right, we'll see how it goes in Nashville. I know that you went out and saw a little bit of baseball over the weekend as well. Jay Johnson's team out on the diamond. Any nuggets you want to pass along from Friday or Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah, I think the infield has, going to be a revolving door of players. Like I was, I think I was texting you that Braden Simpson's a guy I've seen over at first base. It looks really good at that spot. John Pearson
won't be the last time.
I know John Pearson and Trent Caraway are kind of getting the reps at third base right now. I think you're going to see, continue revolving door there. I think maybe one of the questions I still have is at the catcher position. They have a couple of guys there that I think they're going to go to with Cade Arambidi, and I think Omar Cerna is a really talented young freshman as well. But I like the pieces that they have in place, but it's just going to be about what they do on the infield and how those guys are rotating in and out over the next 6 weeks. I think is going to be really interesting to follow. We know the guys in the outfield. We know that's going to be set. I think I haven't personally seen the whole ton of like the big arms pitch yet in the first weekend, but excited to see some of those guys get out there and start ramping up their process for this fall as well. So we'll be out there as much as possible for fall ball, but it's just going to be little trickier, when you got, mixing in basketball season starting here soon, and certainly the home stretch of their football season as well.
For sure. You can check it all out at Go 24/7. Glen West with us on Tuesdays. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, Hunt.
Is Glen West with us every single Tuesday at 1:30. Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. Come back, close out the hour with a really, really cool story that we'll get to that surfaced yesterday on the internet. We'll get to that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Closet space can be a big, big deal. And if you live in an older home, it just may not have been built with the closet space that you need. And now if you got children, you got suitcases, suits, all kinds of shoes, maybe someone moved in recently, that's the case, and you just don't have the closet space that you need, but you don't want to move, David Vaughn and his team are happy to help you with that. They can come in and they can build you a new closet. They're perfectly capable of doing that. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. Or they may be able to just use your current space more efficiently by adding some features that you don't currently have. That's something you can learn what the best option is for you when you have that sit down and that consultation that's free with David Duvall. So go to onebathandclosets.com. See pictures of their great work. You can see some of the closet spaces that they've done. They are functional. They are customized. And they are beautiful when done. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. And they got financing options available. So if you're looking to finance 0% up to 18 months, David can work with you on that front as well. It's One Bath and Closets. Find it all online. OneBathAndClosets.com.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trusty Properties.
Daryl May was a builder for 2 decades here in Baton Rouge, so he knows the ins and outs of home construction, certainly in this part of the world, this city specifically. And he's got that expertise. Now he just, instead of building them, helps people buy and sell them. So if you're looking for a realtor that not only knows the market, but knows what he's looking for and what you should be looking for in terms of construction, Daryl can help you with that, and he is happy to do it. So reach out to him at Trusty Properties. Daryl May, licensed in Louisiana and Mississippi. Daryl May at Trusty Properties. That's a name you can trust. A very cool story that emerged last night regarding Greg Brooks. Of course, Greg Brooks, former Tiger, who has gone through just an incredible battle with health concerns since being diagnosed with that brain tumor, and recently got engaged. And then there was a story that came out that the Atlanta Falcons, became aware of Greg's story from watching on the Pivot, Ryan Clark's podcast, and it was brought to their attention. And Raheem Morris's wife saw it and said, we needed to do something to reach out. And they did. And they put together a great day for Greg Brooks. He was able to go to Atlanta to the team facility. He was able to watch practice, meet the team. He was presented with a Brooks Falcons jersey. He was able to spend some time with former teammate Felipe Franks, who was with him at Arkansas before he moved on to LSU, and Franks went on to the NFL. And you could see how much it meant to Greg in the video that ESPN put together. He called it one of the greatest moments of his life, the greatest experiences of his life, and Falcons were very gracious, generous with their time, and included him in a lot of things there at the facility. And I just thought that was such a great gesture because, Greg doesn't have any ties to the Falcons. It's not like he was drafted by the Falcons and then this happened and now they're allowing him to do that. They just reached out because it was the right thing to do. If you're watching on YouTube right now that Cassie just pulled up, he said it was one of the greatest experiences of his life. And then you got all the Falcons that were coming to say what's up. And that's, got Michael Penix, who obviously is kind of the face of that organization right now. And you got Michael Jarrell, one of their tackles that came up and said him. And all the guys were there to kind of dap him up. And Greg spoke openly and freely. And it's really admirable to watch Greg Brooks go out and do things so publicly. I can't put myself in Greg's shoes with what he is going through, but clearly he is very compromised physically. He's in a wheelchair and his speech has been severely impaired. And that's obvious to everyone, including him, who goes out there. And I think it might be in some people's instincts to just kind of stay in the background and just kind of stay home. That's no way to live. And he is out in public and he's doing things like this when given the opportunity. And I think that's really, really cool to see. And I think it was really, really cool of the Falcons. So just like a huge hat tip all around to the Atlanta Falcons, to Greg Brooks, to his family, to Raheem Morrison and his wife, and what they were able to help Greg do. He holds up if you're watching on YouTube, I'm chuckling because Greg holds up that jersey and has a huge smile on his face, says I'm part of the team. It's a very, very cool thing that went on. And I think that's awesome on all fronts there. So hat tip there to the entire Falcons organization and to the Brooks family for making that happen, and to Ryan Clark for the part that he played in that as well. RC kind of narrated it. If you missed it, you can check out the entire video there at ESPN.com. We've got a little story up on LouisianaSports.net about it as well, so you can go and read it there. But just something that crossed my radar actually this morning, because Matt posted it in our group last night, and I woke up and saw it this morning, and just thought it was very cool. Wanted to mention it here at the end of hour number 1. So awesome job to all involved there. All right, God, that's as fast moving hour as I can remember. Open the show talking about LSU's running game. I put some statistics behind what we saw on Saturday. There's a story up on LouisianaSports.net about it. If you want to go back and listen to that, you can. Hunt on LSU is where you can find it. Wherever you find your podcast, certainly on YouTube as well. Kellen Moore, impressed with Spencer Rattler's high-level play. There's some numbers that are really encouraging with Rattler over the last 2 weeks of his play there at quarterback for the Saints. So you can go listen to that or read about it. Ross Jackson's piece at LouisianaSports.net. And shout out Glen West, Go 24/7 for giving us a little bit of time. All that is on demand. Search Hunt Palmer Show wherever you find your sound. Want to remind y'all as we go to break here at the end of the hour before we get to Colin Jeter, tonight, Sports Trivia is back here in Baton Rouge. Did it for 10 years at Pluckers. Had a quick stop at Pizza by Roan's as well. We're cranking things back up at Court to Table on Burbank. It's an incredible facility. Awesome spot. We'll be there. Sports Trivia starts at 8 o'clock. You want to get there a little bit early. They've got awesome food. You can get something to eat, something to drink in the bar area as well. You can play some cornhole. They got a great outdoor area. There's an awesome place to hang out and stretch your legs. You can play pickleball as well, obviously, at Court to Table. But we'll be doing trivia 8 o'clock to like 9:15, 9:30. So not going to have you there all hours of the night. We'll have you out of there by 9:30. You can win gift cards, get something cold to drink, something great to eat, and do your sports trivia, test your sports trivia knowledge. I've got 4 rounds done already. Still got to do my LSU football round this evening. We'll get to that. But that sounds like something you like to get into on a Tuesday. Come watch some games on TV. They got a great TV setup over there as well to watch baseball and football. Come out and see us at Court to Table for sports trivia tonight. Hour 2 is coming at you quickly. I got Colin Jeter from the LSU Alumni Association, former tight end, with us at 2 o'clock. Sharief Ishaq talking Saints at 2:30. Also hear some sound from Brian Kelly yesterday. So a lot to do. We'll pause for national headlines with Sports Center, and we'll come back with Hour 2 of this Tuesday edition. The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The National League Championship Series resumes tonight for the Dodgers and Brewers. Coverage at 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Thanks in part to a brilliant start by Blake Snell in the opener. LA's got a 1-0 lead, but its bullpen, shaky last night, continues to be a concern for the defending World Series champs, points out ESPN MLB analyst Doug Glanville.
Well, they have the talent, right? You know, guys that have had experience, success, lefties, righties. It doesn't seem to be the issue. They just seem like they're not really executing from like pitch one. And, you know, it certainly is an issue against the Brewers, especially on the road. It's a comeback team that works walks, that's going to run the bases.
Yoshi Yamamoto starts Game 2 tonight for the Dodgers against the Brewers' Freddie Peralta. NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter's reporting Baltimore is releasing safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson 1 week after signing him to their practice squad. It's the second time this season he's been released. Houston released Gardner-Johnson late last month. NHL, Senators captain Brady Tkachuk out 4 weeks with a right wrist injury sustained in yesterday's loss to Nashville.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Wednesday with Baker Mayfield having success in his fourth stop. I'll tell you which other QBs need a change of scenery if they actually want to succeed. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Thanks for hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Sharief, Ishaq in 30 minutes talking Saints. We begin Hour 2 every Tuesday with Colin Jeter, former Tiger tight end with the LSU Alumni Association. Now he is in studio with us. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Tigers are back in the win column.
They are, which is a good thing. The bye after the loss is tough.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks of kind of sour tastes. And do you feel like they got rid of it on Saturday?
I think so.
Okay.
I think we played a couple of mistakes here and there that cost us. I think the score should have been much stronger than what it was.
What do you think the coaches have to say about that? Because that's like been my tone for 2 days. Like, okay, yeah, they only scored 20, but you turned it over inside the one twice, and you dropped a deep pass, and you didn't score from the one when you got first and goal at the one at the very end of the game, but you really only needed 3 points to make it 10. Like it. There are like 4 different ways to get that to 34-10, and then nobody's ticked, but they scored 20. So how do you think the players and the coaches feel about it?
I think players and coaches go into Monday reviewing it. Same thing we've talked about before. I'm sure there's one little minute detail on most of those plays that end up costing you from going from a touchdown to interception or a fumble or getting stuffed at the goal line. So it's just cleaning that up. I think coming back, getting that bye week to get healthy. Nussmeier looked healthier, getting a win coming off the bye, and then rolling into the back half of the season. I think everything's up. I just think we got to get some little minor things cleaned up.
I'm curious. You can't know this, but and we talked about it a little bit last week. But there's just so much frustration in the fan base. Do you think there's any of that at practice? Do you think there's any of that with the players? Do you think they're just fired up that they won a game and they're ready to go play another one?
I think a little bit of both. I think for someone who goes into the game and you play bad, and you got to come back Monday morning and watch film, and nothing was worse than showing up to a film and you knew when a bad play was coming up, and you just kind of shied away in the back corner of the meeting room.
Did Insinger get on y'all?
Oh yes, Insinger.
He's so quiet.
Oh no, you don't know the real Steve. Steve he would keep on the whiteboard behind him. He would mark tick marks for all of our mistakes, and we'd have to run gassers for him. So it was kind of a competition, and it became almost mutiny within the meeting room because if one tight end messed up and it kind of slipped by Insminger, the other tight ends made sure it got called out. So
that's a good way to build division in the team.
Yeah, it could get real sour real quick, but it was all good fun.
He hated doing the interview that I do. I do a 3-minute interview with assistant coaches, one a week. So he had to do it once a year with me. And I would walk in and go, God, he hated talking, and I think it's funny that he would get after you all in the meeting room.
Oh yeah, no, Steve off the media is the best guy, talkative guy, but he does not like media. Every time you go in, he goes, Jeter, that's why I don't read the paper, and that's his go-to every time.
And look, this is not the New York Times coming in there to break some news. I'm with the LSU Sports Radio Network. It's like, hey, Coach, how'd Trey look this week? It's not exactly the most hard-hitting interview that's ever been conducted, but I find that to be funny. How'd you feel like the run game looked? They ran for 166.
We look better. It seems like we got slightly more creative with Sloan in the offense and those little things like we talked about, holding blocks a little bit longer. It seemed like into the bye week we maybe got some things figured out, and that made the difference. I mean, season-high rushing yard, 166. I thought Caden looked good. That's what we need. See if we can get a little bit more offensive run game going. It opens up a lot more. And we talked about there was missed opportunities, but, man, that game could have been 34-10 before you knew it.
Easy. One of the reasons LSU won the game is because they had Trey Green. He plays tight end, kind of, and they could not cover him. So what'd you think?
I don't know who can. He's a freak of nature. I feel like this is the third or fourth time we've talked about it. He is unreal. I mean, I've reached a point where you could base a whole offense about throwing him jump balls. I mean, he's going to come down with 75% of them. I mean, you can get to fourth down doing that. So he's a freak of nature. I think that's the highest yardage a tight end's had in a long time in a game.
It was his career high.
And I know he's kind of a hybrid tight end, maybe not a true Y, but man, he is so impressive. I love having him back. It seemed like he's finally healthy again. I'd love to see him slowly get out of that knee brace. I think that probably affects him somewhat, but man, he's one of a kind.
The touchdown where he just skied, like he did catch one like that kind of against Clemson, but it was like into the body a little bit. This was like full extension. And the way I termed it, I don't remember if that was Monday on this show or if that was on the postgame show. Can't remember. They all run together like that. But it looked like an eighth grader playing the fifth graders is what it looked like.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, the guy is 6'7", 6'8", whatever he is. He's got probably 40-inch arms. A 40-inch vertical, he can probably touch the rim of a basketball standing on his flat feet. So he's such a weapon for you, and the fact that he's back and healthy, man, I think that's huge for us. Like I said, if all else fails, throw it up to number 14 and let him do his thing.
Do you feel like they're going to gear the offense toward him moving forward? I mean, we couldn't have known that because he was coming off the injury. He didn't catch a ball at Ole Miss. I don't even remember how many snaps he played, but he was hurt. That certainly changed after the bye week. Do you feel like he's due for more of a workload than even you saw against Clemson?
I think so. I think he's a guy that you can truly build an offense around in the air. And what that does is not only can he make outstanding plays, but the minute a team goes to bracket him, double him up, it opens up your guys out wide. And we have so many weapons out wide that can play off of that. I mean, you saw Parker take off for the however long touchdown that was at the end of the game. There's a lot you can do. When you have a guy who brings in multiple players in coverage, it just opens up so much on the backside.
You didn't play at Vanderbilt, did you?
We did not. We played in Nashville for a bowl game. We did not play at Vandy, though.
It is a unique environment in the Southeastern Conference because it is an incredible trip to go on. Fans want to go to Nashville. They want to go to Nashville more than they want to go to Gainesville or Starkville or Fayetteville. Like, they just do. And so you get a lot of visiting fans, and it's a smaller environment, and Vanderbilt doesn't have a lot of fans, and a lot of times it's like split 50-50 with fan bases. So, like, it's just a weird little vibe, and you go at 11 o'clock in the morning. Like, does that give you any pause?
I think the hardest part is just the early in the morning. It's just such a weird, especially with this team. I know we've played, one afternoon game against Ole Miss. When you get in such a routine of nightly games, and then you come up on an away trip where you travel on a Friday, then you have to get up at 6 in the morning to be ready for team breakfast, which is normally dinner. Now you're eating bacon and eggs before your game. You're getting to the stadium at 10 o'clock, at 9 o'clock. It gets you moving a lot earlier. I'm sure BK and the staff are going to do little things differently to kind of get the players' bodies moving earlier. But that, to me, was the hardest part. We played Syracuse my junior year, and it was a weird stadium, kind of similar. You know, they're at the Carrier Dome. It's not Vanderbilt, but it's just a different kind of crowd, and it's an early game. It just kind of throws you off just enough where we kind of sleptwalked the first half of the game. So I'm hoping BK and them kind of get them rolling early where we hit it hot and we can make this thing bring back home a win.
He'll probably field a question on this either tomorrow on the teleconference or in his post practice on Thursday. But 3 years ago, they would stop halfway on their drive and get out in the parking lot and like stretch because they were staying at like Tupelo to go to Mississippi State, and they got out and stretched. I don't know if in Nashville you probably don't have to do that because you stay somewhere close. So I'm sure they'll have something to get those guys up and moving, I would imagine.
I would think so. I think they'd have them move them early, maybe in the parking lot, in the ballroom, something to get those guys heart rates up.
So I got to ask this question. I would have no idea. I would imagine most of the players don't even know this, but Vanderbilt's a 2.5-point favorite. Do you think the players care that Vanderbilt is favored over them?
No.
Do you think the coaches will bring it to their attention?
I doubt that. I don't think we're even allowed to talk overs and unders at the facility. Yeah. But it's one of those things. When we played, it didn't matter. We went at every game. You watch film, you find ways you think you can beat the team, and I feel like as a player, that's what you're focused on. Like if we do this, and this, we'll win the game. It never came up as to us being a 7-point underdog or we're going here doing that. It was just about winning the game and doing what we needed to do to win.
How much you watched Diego Pavia the last 2 years?
He's kind of fun, man. He's kind of like the new Manziel, huh? He's kind of got a little attitude.
Diet Manziel.
Yeah, I saw Johnny actually followed him to the Alabama game a week or so ago. But yeah, he's got that spark to him, and that's his team rallies around him. I think he's made a huge difference as far as the culture in Vanderbilt. He kind of has them believing they can win any game, and that's shown the past few years. They're not the same Vanderbilt they've been in years past, especially when we played them or even a couple of years ago. He's got them believing, and it's going to be one of those things. If we don't shut him down, we let him get momentum, it could be a problem. But I have faith in our defense, especially after our showing against Sellers, having him kind of scrambling for his life most of the game. If we can do that against Pavia, I think we'll be fine.
A lot of continuity on both coaching staffs, so you have tape from last year. LSU's got a lot of different personnel on defense. Vanderbilt has more of the same on offense. But do you go back and look at that game week of what they did last year? Because Vanderbilt struggled to move the ball in LSU last year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. You look back last year, kind of what you did good, what you didn't do, how they game plan against you. Obviously, they're going to do the same. They're going to look back at, as far as what they did great, what they didn't do so great, what maybe faults the game plan had, and I'm sure it's going to be a chess match of, okay, do we do what we did do, or is that what they think we're going to do? It's just a lot of back and forth. But you certainly look at last year, especially with Pavia coming back, getting 2 years of tape on him, studying him, and kind of figuring out what his weaknesses are going to be.
Here's what I've been thinking since it went final against Ole Miss. It's like, okay, they got a bye week coming up, so whatever. They got South Carolina in Tiger Stadium. It's a game you hope to win, you should win. And then you got Vanderbilt, which it's not your uncle's Vanderbilt, your dad's Vanderbilt, but if you can beat Vanderbilt, that next weekend when Texas A&M comes down, they're going to be undefeated. It's just going to be unbelievable. We got a Football Friday coming up with the Alumni Association. You'll probably have College Game Day on campus. It's just been announced a 6:30 kickoff. Like, if you can just play 3.5 good hours of football, it sets up a really good weekend the next week.
I agree. And it's really easy to think that, as a player, kind of looking ahead to the rest of the schedule, I hope we do a great job of just focusing because, we can say all this, oh, man, how great of an environment is that going to be? We're playing A&M at night. We're 6-1. They're 7-0. You can't focus on that. You got to focus on what can we do over 3.5 hours, like you said, 4 quarters of football to beat Vanderbilt, to put ourselves in that position. I'm hoping we stay focused on this week.
I'll focus on both weeks from this chair right here because I won't be doing much on Saturday, but talking into a microphone. Had a great Football Friday on Friday. Asked Russell Shepard and Brad Wing for their favorite moments of the 11 season, and they both mentioned infractions. Russell Shepard mentioned being suspended for the first game because of like NCAA infractions, and Brad Wing talked about the penalty on the punt return. It was a lot of fun. Thank y'all for setting that up, and I would imagine we got a big one coming up next week.
Got another one coming against Texas A&M. The thing about Brad and that play, I feel like it's one of those things. He didn't actually get the touchdown, but that play is the forever enshrined in LSU history as the longest penaltied play. I just think it's funny that it never actually counted as a touchdown.
It's his greatest memory, and it's a penalty on him for 15 yards taking a touchdown off the board.
Just a legendary play. But yes, we're doing it again for Texas A&M. As you've seen, we've done it for Florida, for South Carolina. We bring these guys back. They tell such great stories of their time. And not just the normal, like, oh, man, I remember when I rushed for this. It's like, oh, I remember when we did this on a Thursday night, or we had this practice, or this happened that nobody knew about. That's what makes Football Fridays fun, and we're going to do it big for Texas A&M. We're kind of rounding guys up that we think will be great entertainment for our guests. So we're hoping as many people as possible in there. We'd love to do a great showing. I think it's going to be a big event for Texas A&M.
Lunchtime on Fridays, Football Fridays at the Cook. We'll be there for LSU and Texas A&M next Friday. Colin Jeter from the Alumni Association, also with us every Tuesday. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
He is Colin Jeter. We'll come back, hear some audio from Brian Kelly. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com is that website. Maybe you're headed to Vanderbilt this weekend, going to make the drive up to Nashville and don't want to put those miles on your vehicle. Well, how about making sure you get behind the wheel of a rental from Genesis? That kills two birds with one stone. One, you don't have to put those miles on your vehicle. Two, you get to feel what that Genesis experience looks like. You get to understand what driving that vehicle feels like. You get behind the wheel. I'm guessing most of you that are listening have never been behind the wheel of a Genesis. Make that change. If you're looking for a rental, whether it's for that fall beach vacation, headed to the family reunion, it's not too early. Start thinking about when you're driving for Thanksgiving or for the holidays. Genesis of Baton Rouge is happy to rent you a vehicle so that you can experience what it's like to drive their incredible line. And be sure, every single one is an IHA top safety pick, one of the safest cars on the road. Genesis of Baton Rouge, their airline in PQ, or online at genesisofbatonrouge.com, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builder School.
Make your backyards.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Talk a little Saints with Sharief Ishaq coming here in 15 minutes. Curious what his optimism level is for the black and gold right now. Got a win against New York, came up a little bit short, but competitive with New England. Now headed on the road to play a Chicago team that got a great win last night on a little bit of a short week there up in Chicago. We'll talk to Sharief about all of it when we come back in 15 minutes. Talk some offensive line. Brian Kelly specifically talked about his offensive line at his Monday press conference yesterday. And the first thing he talked about was really the offensive line's ability to fire off the football and create some running lanes that added up to LSU running for 5.5 yards per carry.
Other things that really stood out after you watch film is that we ran off the ball for the first time with the offensive line. We got off the ball. Now we got to sustain, and sustainability is will and want to, and we got to get more of that. I thought we did a great job in protecting our quarterback. No sacks against one of the elite pass rushers in Stewart in the league. He is an outstanding athlete, and I was proud of our guys in keeping our quarterback clean.
So I thought the offensive line did okay. Was Dylan Stewart back there causing some problems at times? Yeah, he was. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't. Were there some tackles for loss? Yeah. But I do agree that the offensive line took a step forward. It goes back to the first segment of the show today where I talked about the numbers behind the running game being encouraging. I thought that a lot of things that you just saw with your own eyes were encouraging with the offensive line. So what's the next step for this group? Brian Kelly talked about that.
We're at the point now where we can talk about sustaining blocks, which is simply a determination and a want to and a will. And we got to get to that, because if we sustain 1 or 2 blocks, well, we had 6 runs of 15 yards or more. That's a really good start. We could have had 3 or 4 that were of 50 or more. And we just need to sustain. I couldn't get to sustaining blocks if I couldn't get off the ball. Now we're getting off the ball. Now we got to sustain blocks. We got to hold on to those blocks. It can't just be contact and that's it, because those guys are folding back in and making plays. So we're at a next stage if we continue to do what we're doing, which puts us in a really good place.
I'll take his word for it. Look, this is not the show that you're going to listen to for a lot of film breakdown. Y'all are aware of that. I'll give you some Pro Football Focus grades. I'll give you a lot of numbers. I'll give you some opinion. I'm not going to break down a lot of left guard play. Not my corner of the store. Guys in the morning show are awesome at it. Absolutely. And you should listen to them. And you should read Matt Flynn's piece of LouisianaSports.net right now that breaks down film, because it's great. And I'll take Brian Kelly's word for it, because Brian Kelly has coached a lot of really good offensive lines and a lot of really good offensive linemen. I feel like, based on the numbers and what my eyes saw at the game, what he's saying makes sense. It makes sense when you tell me that strides were taken by the offensive line. So I'm with that, and hopefully that is the next step for this group of maybe sustaining blocks and creating longer runs, because you don't hit somebody and then allow them to shed and go make a play. Right tackle is a spot that a lot of people are talking about. And for good reason. Like, I write a Pro Football Focus piece every week, and no hyperbole, every week Weston Davis is on the lowest graded players. Now, to what degree Pro Football Focus is correct is up to Brad Davis, to you, the fan, if you want to interpret. Like, it is what it is. But a lot of people are talking about it. And I'll say this, like, I believe that Weston Davis has had his struggles, no question. I also think he had a really tough matchup on Saturday. Like, Dylan Stewart makes a lot of guys look bad. So the consensus, well, not the consensus, generally what I heard was, like, he had some really good reps against Dylan Stewart. He also got beat some by Dylan Stewart. But the question that was raised to Brian Kelly is, like, if you looked at putting Josh Thompson at right tackle, where he did play as a junior at Northwestern.
We did, but we're willing to live with some mistakes out at right tackle, because we think his future is so bright. So when you go into that whole process of thinking about it, do you thwart his growth of what he needs to see every day? He was really good against 6 and pass protection. Really good. That guy is outstanding. He's as good as I've seen. We've got to get him better in the run game. And that's where, at times, you want to put Josh out there. But we're going to live with him. And I'm proud of him. He's growing. He's learning this game. And that's a big part of this. O-line awareness, O-line instincts. Some have it, some don't. Some you got to really give them reps. And that's what this is about. He needs to play.
I'll make a bit of, this is going to be a stretch. I am upfront about this. This is a bit of a stretch, but I think it's relevant. If I put a cornerback out there that's 5'9" and runs a 4.58, I can't really have great expectations for that. If I put a post out there in SEC basketball that's 6'6", 225, like, that's, I got to have low expectations. If I put a Friday night starter out there that throws 84 miles an hour with no straight changeup, like, you're asking for it. Like, you're being unrealistic. Weston Davis is none of those things. Weston Davis is 6'7". He's got massively long arms. He's a high school basketball player. He can move. Like, he's got some tools, and he's got no experience. So it is a reasonable thought by that coaching staff to suggest this kid can get a lot better. Because the gifts are there. Now, he's got to do it. And I understand Brian Kelly saying we believe in this kid. He did a really good job in pass protection against Dylan Stewart. There were some times we wanted to put Josh Thompson out there at right tackle. I get all that. And you've got Karius Kern right there ready to back up, who's also got all those physical gifts and no experience. And I trust that they'll figure out what the best thing to do moving forward. But right now, they're going to go to Weston Davis. And if you're a fan and you're evaluating this going, man, I don't know about how that's going at right tackle, I get it. You're not wrong. But I would also say, looking at Brian Kelly and Brad Davis going, okay, like they believe that there are some physical gifts here that could lead to a seismic improvement when something clicks. That story will be written. We'll figure it out. You're halfway through the season. You got one more bye week coming up. Maybe you want to play the next two with Weston Davis, and if it doesn't get significantly better, you make a move to a freshman. We'll see. That story's yet to be written, and I'm not here to make a prediction on that. But I'm just saying that, like, I understand where everybody's coming from. It's something to pay attention to moving forward for sure. Now, Cohen Eccles, another young player who they've played some at left guard. Paul Mabenga still banged up, did not play in this game. And if you've got Kern focusing more on right and left tackle than left guard, like you've really got Chester as the swing and Eccles as a guy who's going to play a lot at left guard. And what did Brian Kelly see from Cohen Eccles?
Yeah, I thought he was really solid for us. You know, he gets off the ball, he gets hands on you, and he moves you. You get a dent, and he did a really, really good job. Now, he made some mistakes, but that's going to happen because he doesn't have a huge resume of work. But I liked his effort. It was really, really solid. Our guard and center play was the best it's been all year. And it happens in the triangle. That's where it has to happen. That group right there has got to get off the ball and get you some initial movement, and that's where we were better.
I believe him. The numbers bear that out. The numbers suggest that LSU blocked better and ran better than they have all year. And I think he's correct that the guys in the middle, Braylon Moore, Cohen Eccles, Josh Thompson, they had their best game. And you saw different looks. You saw some power. You saw the Wildcat run with Malachi Lane and Jack Pyburn back there. You saw Harlan Berry early in the game. Like, you saw some different looks. And you saw the offensive line start to move some people a little bit early in the game. Again, same thing as the first segment of the day. Was it dominant? No. Was it just unbelievably effective? No. Was it steady, solid, and an improvement? Absolutely. So hopefully it's something to build on. And you heard my take on it to start the show. You've now heard Brian Kelly's take on it here in the middle of the show. Like, hopefully that's something to move forward. Because we all still feel great about the defense, and the quarterback's play has not been good enough through 6 games. You know there's more in there. You know that he can be better. You just got to hope that as time goes by, the offensive line improves with the running game improving, and then the quarterback improves, and you've got a more functional offense. You hope you don't run out of time before that development can happen. You still have some. You're 5-1. That's an okay spot to be in. But you got to continue to get better, and Brian Kelly feels like his offensive line is doing just that. All right, Thursday show is brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. He's a name you can trust. Look, spent 2 decades as a builder here in Baton Rouge. He knows what craftsmanship looks like. He knows where the great houses are. He knows what you should be looking for in a home that you purchase. So go ahead and contact my guy, Daryl May at Trusty Properties. He is a name you can trust. Let's take a time out. We'll come back, and we'll talk to our guy, Sharief Ishaq, next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Let's talk Highland Insurance Group. HighlandIG.com is that website. Highland Insurance Group. Jonathan Carbo and his team are phenomenal folks to work with in the insurance game. Storm season's just about in the rearview mirror, but renewal season could be coming up here. So if you're looking to renew your commercial insurance program on 1/1, this is the time to look into that. You can make that happen with the folks at the Highland Insurance Group. They can audit your current policy. They'll tell you what you have, what you should have, what you don't have. You can determine what your appetite for risk is, and they will get you into the program for you commercially. That's their promise to you at the Highland Insurance Group. The time to look into your renewal is not 2 weeks out. You don't have enough time. It's now. So if you're a 1/1 and you're a CFO, risk manager, business owner, contact Jonathan Carbo in the Highland Insurance Group and let them audit your policy for free. Most important thing you can do is make sure your insurance is right. and they will do that with keeping in mind that your premium is always very, very important, and the fact that they've got multiple markets to go to and approach with your line of work in mind suggests that they can help you out with that as well. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Find them online at highlandig.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Daryl May, Trustee Properties, a name you can trust. Licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi, brings you our Tuesday shows. Sharief, Ishaq, always a part of those Tuesday shows, talking black and gold. Sharief, how we doing?
I'm doing, okay, I guess.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm thrilled that you're doing okay. Let's talk about the Saints, who did not win on Sunday, but outside of the game in Seattle, which was just a grease fire with special teams disasters, they've shown some fight. Like, what do you think?
I mean, this is kind of what we thought it would be this season, competitive losses. And the plan's still in place, process, and then taking steps and the build process. I'm not sure if some of that stuff is in the right direction. But there are some good and there's a lot more bad. But this is as expected, huh? This is what we're going to see. A lot of competitive games. Might get 2 or 3 blowouts this year, but this is what they are. A 1-5 team, and this is what they're going to be this season.
As far as the quarterback goes, I think that's one of the things that a lot of people want to talk about. Like, how do you feel about Rattler?
I mean, this is such it's like a social media burn down. No matter what side you're on, somebody's going to be mad. Look, I think he's good. But I think it's middle of the ground good. I mean, he's his ceiling. I mean, yeah, he's doing enough not to lose, but not doing enough to win more games. And that's not good in the NFL. Middle of the ground, today's NFL isn't going to get you where you're a franchise where it needs to be. No real mistakes. Good under pressure. Doesn't take many sacks, but, he doesn't really make enough plays down the field and the accuracy down the field. But intermediate routes, fine. Short routes, fine. And that's his completion percentage is high, 20 of 26 in that game. And that's, a lot of smart decisions down under and on checkdowns and intermediate routes. Had that one big play to start the game. But once again, they got to have more explosive plays for the quarterback down the field. And look, I get it. Olave dropped 3 passes. Juwan Johnson fumbled ball near midfield in the fourth quarter. A lot of things that went against Spencer. And I like Spencer. He's a real good guy. He takes the blame when they have losses, doesn't want to take any kind of credit when they win, which is like a good leadership role from your quarterback and what you want to see. But, you need more. You need more. And a lot of the fight on social media is if you say that he's not a franchise guy like Drake May is, well, the guys are dropping balls, guys are fumbling. It's always if this isn't going to happen, if. So everything has to be perfect. Great. If everything was perfect for me, I'd have a hairline and I'd be rich. That's just not how life works. You have to find a way to elevate on your own at times, even with some of the adversity. You have to learn how to fight the adversity as a quarterback. Drew Brees did it for a number of years. That's a terrible comparison, but every quarterback has to fight through adversity. You have to find a way to elevate yourself in the franchise. Not taking anything away from Spencer, because I think he's done a really good job.
So I certainly care what you have to say. That's the point of this talk show, to have an input. But how do you, going beyond how you feel, how do you think the team, the players, the coaches feel about Rattler right now?
They like him. Well, they like him a lot. Like I said, he's putting them he really is putting them in a spot to almost win every one of these games, with the exception of the Seattle game. And they're behind him and backing him, and he's doing enough to get them to that spot. But it's, it is what it is. He has to get them to that next level. But in terms of them, they like him. They love him. If they didn't, Kellen Moore would have put Tyler Ishaq in by now, and he would have been playing, and he'd be the starter. But that's not the case, because I think that Spencer Rattler isn't doing anything to lose his job.
Do you feel like this is a negative place for the Saints to be in, where the quarterback's playing just good enough to stick around? Or do you feel like that maybe there's a chance he could get better? Or are you just ready to see Ishaq?
Look, this team isn't going anywhere. You use a second-round pick on Ishaq. At some point, you have to see him, but you don't wait so long to see him, or you're going to be in the same situation as Spencer Rattler was in last year. We had no offensive line and no weapons, and it becomes such a hard thing to judge him on. So you are putting him in a bad situation, and you're putting yourself in a bad situation for drafting that guy if it doesn't work out. And everyone's going to be like, we told you so. Why did you pick up him at 40th? We told you in the first place not to draft Tyler Ishaq. You should have used it on another position, or you should have drafted Jackson Dart in the first round. Like everyone should told you should have moved back and gotten Jackson Dart. So they're in a very weird situation here, because if he continues to play at this level and then they keep losing, what do? Do you tell Tyler you're going to start after the bye week if your team is 2-8 and he has no starters out there and he's getting clobbered? I mean, what happens? I mean, they're in a very tough predicament at this point, because this is where it's going to continue this way. This is just the season's going to unfold with a bunch more losses.
You have a defensive take? How do you feel about the way the defense has played?
I am, so up and down on the defense.
Yeah.
It's like a roller coaster of emotions with this defense, man. I mean, they get torched in the first half for 3 touchdowns by Drake May. And let me say, Kayshon Boutte was lights out. He made some contested catches. Diggs made some catches. Like a lot of those were some very good throws, but there were some contested catches. Like the touchdown Babudi, the first one in the end zone, like he and Kool-Aid were wrestling for the ball. Good throw. Probably just stronger catch. There are times, that first touchdown, an absolute blown assignment by Jonas Sanker. He just got beat. I mean, it's simple as that. He was just wide open. Like there was like no one near him. Douglas was just hanging around by himself. I mean, it happened twice, honestly. Luckily, they called pass interference on that second one, which was a phantom OPI. They had so many phantom OPI and DPI calls in that game, but that secondary, it got rough. But look, here's the thing: in the second half, they adjusted and they got much better. They only gave up a field goal. I mean, both defenses adjusted and they only gave up field goals in the second half. And I'm so roller coaster with this defense. The problem, though, for me, the number one issue with this defense is the pass rush. It is not consistent. They're not getting to the quarterback enough. Drake May came into that game, sacked 17 times, the second most in the NFL behind Cam Ward. They only got him once.
Yeah.
And once is not a guy who's been sacked 17 times.
I would agree with that for sure. So it's just so hard. Like, I want to just go, okay, well, tell me about the Bears game. Like, how do you feel about the Bears game? But is that a relevant discussion to have? Like, do you want to talk about what goes on in the Bears game, or do you think it's all just big picture stuff?
To me, it's okay to talk about the Bears game. You want to make sure you are better than your ex. That's pretty much what this game is about. You want to make sure you are looking good for your ex. You're making sure you're letting the ex know that, hey, I'm in a good place. I look good. We're going to make sure to show you that we're better. We're better now without you. That's what this game is about. They want to try to punish Dennis Allen's defense. I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, look, they did a pretty good job last night against Jaden Daniels. They forced that fumble late in the game. It's going to be tough going against Caleb Williams, another dual threat quarterback. I mean, this offense is going to have to do something, man. It has to wake up. I mean, it's bottom 5 in the NFL in scoring, around 18 points, a little bit more than 18 points a game. Dennis Allen's defense, at times they can disguise things and make life miserable for you. And he knows how to go against Spencer Rattler. He's going to know. He's going to know what to do. At this point, this game would be, if you can win it and go 3-14 or 4-13 and let that be one of your wins, it'd feel really good. It'd feel good for the entire city of New Orleans because of the frustration they had for Dennis Allen. And even the players in the locker room. There were a lot of players in the locker room who were frustrated with Dennis, including Kendre Miller being the number one player because he felt like he didn't get a good shake with Dennis Allen and he sat him out for all those games when he was ready to play, when he wasn't really that hurt. So there are a lot of players who are going to go to Chicago and want to beat Dennis Allen.
That's interesting. It's an interesting narrative for a team that's not the wins and losses aren't that interesting, but that certainly is one. How do you think it goes on Sunday then?
I think the Bears win that game. I think that they have found a way. I think Dan Johnson's found a way to get more out of that offense with Caleb Williams, and Dennis Allen's defense is starting to kind of see the light a bit, and they can do what they did on the road last night to Jaden Daniels. I think it's going to be tough for that Saints offense, and I think they win a game by 7 to 10 points. I mean, I think they'll be competitive like this always is. They'll be competitive if they win by 7 or 10 points.
All right, he's Sharief Ishaq, WDSU 9 Sports down in New Orleans, talking all things black and gold. Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Hopefully the Pelicans can bring us some better news when we talk about them.
We will do that. The NBA cranking up this week, so we'll certainly do that with the Pels as we move forward. That's Sharief Ishaq down in New Orleans, WDSU. We'll come back, close things out, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Tuesday show is always brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. You're looking for an awesome condo in Pass Christian or Bay St. Louis? Daryl May of Trusty Properties can help you out with that. You looking for hunting property somewhere in Mississippi or in the Felicianas? Daryl May can help you with that. If you're looking for agricultural land or a place to build a second home, Daryl May of Trusty Properties can help you out with that. And if you're just looking to buy a home or sell a home in Baton Rouge, Daryl May, who has lived here his entire life, can help you with that. 20 years as a builder, now focusing on real estate. He knows where the listings are. He knows what the great construction is. He can help you buy or sell a home. It's Daryl May of Trusty Properties. He's a name you can trust.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Properties, Daryl May, Trusty Properties, bringing you our Tuesday shows each and every week. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Had a chance to get out and see about an hour and 15 minutes of LSU basketball practice yesterday. Just wanted to briefly kind of touch on that. Once again, as has been the case for 3 weeks now, you've been able to see Jalen Reed out there. He is going through everything that I saw yesterday. Did not sit out any drills. I didn't see any 5-on-5, but he was in every drill, full speed, full contact, did have the brace on his knee. I'm told that he will have that brace the whole season. So he's going to be playing with the brace, which, we'll see if and how much that limits him. Didn't look like it to me. Looks to be in good shape. Looks to be moving pretty well. Good to see the guys shooting the ball well yesterday. Was really impressed, obviously, with De'Don Thomas and his ability to shoot the ball. Max McKinnon, transfer in from Portland, can really shoot it as well. You saw that. He was really knocking him down in a lot of uncontested settings, which, look, college basketball players make a lot of uncontested shots in practice. This just in. But he did a really good job there. I was also impressed with the ability of Rashad King to shoot the three. He's a 6'6" senior transfer that they got in from Northeastern, and he made some shots as well. I really like LSU's physicality in the front court. I mentioned Michael Nwoku, who is 6'10", 265. Then you've got Robert Miller, who's gained a little bit of weight. He's still skinny, but he is 6'10". He is 230 pounds, so he's put on some weight. Jalen Reed's 6'10", 245, which is good. Marquell Sutton is 6'9", 225 as well. He can go down there. I wouldn't count Matt Gilhool in that number at the moment. He's a freshman on this team that I don't expect to have a huge role in this team. He is 6'11", which is good, but he's listed at 213 pounds, and he's still kind of figuring out how to play with that huge, long body. So he's a guy that's behind the rest of those guys, but you do have a front court that does have some physicality to it, some older players to it, which I think is good, and I like the way that they shot it. Again, it's an hour and 15 minutes of a lot of 3-on-2s, 4-on-3s, individual shooting periods, defensive drills, that kind of stuff. I'm not here to give you 30 minutes on basketball practice yesterday, but I thought 120 seconds wasn't going to be too much for anybody. So I enjoyed going to see him, and I'm excited to get out there and play. They still got 4 weeks to practice, 3.5 weeks to practice for their first game. But I'm hopeful that this team can do some good things in the fall, set themselves up for a brutal conference run, and maybe win some games. So we'll see. I'm not going to put expectations too high on this team. I think they're better than last year, but they'll have to go prove it. So that's your LSU basketball minute here on this Tuesday. Let's play some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Everything you're looking for in a light beer. 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Still a little bit warm out there, even though the mornings are cool, but it doesn't have to be hot to enjoy a nice cold light beer, and Yingling Flight can give you that. It's the next generation of light beer.
All right, first one here. The Bears, as Sharief and you talked about, are the next opponent for the Saints. The Bears have won their last 2 games by a score. Well,
okay.
I'm sorry, their last 2 games they've won by a score of 25-24. Exactly, both games.
Okay.
The Bears will beat the Saints 25-24. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave that. I feel like my odds are pretty good if I leave that. I feel pretty confident I can get home from that.
They probably would have been pretty good after the first game, too.
They would have been, for sure, and would have lost that. But, yeah, tough loss for Jaden and the Commanders last night. I did not stay up for the end of it, but I saw the highlights of it, and that's a tough fumble, lose the gun on a field goal there. It's just that's what the league is. It's just almost every game comes down to that, and it came on the other side for the Commanders, and you figured some of that might even out after they won almost all of them late last year, including a Hail Mary against the Bears.
Yeah, and the game-winning kick by disgraced 49ers kicker Jake Moody.
That's right, Moody.
You just never know how the kicking game is going to go, especially with guys in the NFL, just always moving around. Sometimes they do better other places. But next one here, Jerry Jones commenting on the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, they lost to the Panthers, who actually look a little bit better this year, surprisingly.
They do.
The fact that the Cowboys lost to the Panthers, not a great sight. Jerry Jones said, though, that since the Eagles only lead the division at 4-2 and have lost 2 straight, Commanders are 3-3, he said, quote, "It just reminded me that we are still in it. I see much parity, and that you factor in that these teams get compromised with injury, and we can have and may have to have it too. But if we should have some good go of it here over the next weeks ahead." By the way, his grammar is really bad, but without injury situation, return of injury, and we get some wins before adding, he was encouraged by his team's prospects and said that maybe they'll be looking for some defensive players to trade for before the trade deadline. Jerry Jones saying they should make a trade for a defensive player. Take it or leave it.
I mean, sure, I'll take it. Their defense is awful. You're going to make a trade, but it's not like baseball where you can kind of transform the top end of your team at the trading deadline. You might be able to pick up a piece here or there. Every once in a while, Jalen Ramsey moves or something, but this is not like baseball, where in baseball you can go get an ace and can't go get a quarterback, can't go get 2 pass rushers and a safety. That's not how this works in the NFL. So I just think the Cowboys are bad, and they're usually not very good under Jerry Jones, and they now are the team in the NFC that has gone the longest without playing in the conference championship game, and for him to suggest that has nothing to do with him is humorous. But after watching that Cowboys documentary, I'm not surprised by anything that I hear, because really what you learn from that Cowboys documentary is that everybody involved in the Cowboys at that point was just trying to do the best thing for himself, and eventually that burned the whole thing down. It was really good and it burned really hot, really fast, and then it was done. So that's just not surprising that Jerry's still hanging on, but it's not looking good currently.
It's not.
That's why they pay him the big bucks. Dynamite drop in is what that suggested. Fast, fun show there on this Tuesday. Reminder, tonight, 8 o'clock, sports trivia back in action at Court to Table. If you have not been to Court to Table, come see us tonight. It is an incredible facility, great bar and restaurant. Play some cornhole, hang out outside. There's a great seating area and a pavilion out there. You can play pickleball as well. It's got great televisions. You can watch the football that's on tonight. You can watch the Major League Baseball that's on tonight, and you can play sports trivia with us and win gift cards. Very excited to get out to Court to Table for the first time. 8 o'clock, so get out there a few minutes before 8 o'clock. Have you out of there by 9:30, 9:40 on this Tuesday. If you missed any of the show today, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Opened up talking about LSU's running game, put some numbers behind the improvement on Saturday. Kellen Moore's impressive Spencer Rattler. I talked about that. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Glen West with us at 1:30. Great job by the Falcons to give Greg Brooks an awesome experience there in Atlanta. Colin Jeter and Jeter and Sharief Ishaq with us in the second hour. We also heard some audio from Brian Kelly. So catch all that on demand wherever you find your sound. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place for a Wednesday edition. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com is the website. Looking to work on your golf game and just feel like the places that you try to go are not conducive to that. If you try to go to a driving range, the grass is dead, the balls are all scuffed up, it's 98 degrees. Soon it's going to get dark pretty quickly after work, and you just can't find the time to practice some golf. Well, how about Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge? You can go in one of their indoor hitting bays, work on the simulator. You can see your ball flight. You can see your carry distance. You can see your ball speed. You can see the impact of your club on the golf ball, and just work on your game in a controlled environment. That's part of the great piece to Swing Easy Golf Club. Also, if you want to grab a beer while you're doing that, you can do it. They're on Segan, near Perkins. They got memberships available, both corporate and individual. Tell you all the time about socializing at Swing Easy Golf Club. How about working on your game? You can do it there. Swing Easy Golf Club, SwingEasyGCBR.com, SwingEasyGCBR.com.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings